What is unique about flying the B-17 bomber?
Well, it's the largest tailwheel aircraft. It's a 4-engine, 1,200 horsepower per engine monster. It's a real treat to fly. It's demanding. It's rewarding to fly. What's a real treat though is how it puts you back in the day. We pale in comparison to the guys that were flying this, and they weren't high-time airline pilots that were flying it. They were 300-hour, 400-hour, 21-year-old, 22-year-old men flying it, and they were the part of a 10-man crew where the enlisted guys were 18, 19 years old, and it's remarkable to be a part of that 65 years later and get a little bit of a sense of what they went through, just a glimpse of it by talking to them, meeting with them.
And when they come on to the plane, even if they're on the ground, they talk to you and they see the plane, see the B-17 bomber. What kind of satisfaction do you get as a pilot being able to show these World War II heroes, if you will, something that's part of history and part of their lives at one time?
Yeah, all those guys are now well into their 80s. Just last week we had a gentleman with us that was a 35 mission B-17 pilot, and he was 90 years old and very spry. And I tell you, when we have him on the airplane, it's like he gets younger. And we hear insights into the missions that you don't even find in history books. It's a real treat to be around them. Not always do we get to see that aging generation come out, but we see a lot of people who say, my grandfather was a B-17 tail gunner, and I want to see where he sat. And that's a real treat to introduce the airplane to the people that are just now at a point in their life where they can look at their family tree and see, oh, Grandpa was a B-17 ball turret gunner. What's it like to be a ball turret gunner? And then go see that ball turret and just, you can't even comprehend the horrors of going on missions flying in that airplane. And we meet guys that worked on these down in Florida. They were mechanics on it, and so we meet. It's almost like everyone's been touched a little bit by a B-17. If you look into it, 6 degrees of separation kicks in, and you can find a connection to this airplane because it was such a fundamental part of winning the war in Europe. This and the B-24 were the heavy bombers that did all the bombing that pushed the Germans back, that made it possible for the troops to push back, push the Germans out of occupied France through Germany. This is the thing that did it. This is the war machine that was state of the art when it was built, and by the end of the war it was obsolete. But the heavy lifting that this did, if you will, is just incredible.